like I usually tell you guys, you get on that airplane when you win a game on the road, and that was a high-level game on Saturday. That was two real good teams coming off losses where neither one was going to give in. And you're so proud of your guys, and you feel good, and you think, like, we got this figured out. And then you wake up yesterday morning, and you're like, okay, let me get some coffee. Let me put this computer on. And then you start watching Ben Simmons and Blakeney and Quarterman and Hornsby, and you're like, my God, what do we do? It's ever since they've gotten Hornsby and Victor back, they got their maturity on their team. And as that has started to infiltrate into those young guys, now you have a deeper team that's playing much better. And so not only are they a very talented team, now they're a team that's being led by guys that have been through it, that understand, and they're playing real good. So LSU is going to be a handful, matchup nightmare for everybody because their center, power forward, is just, he's just a dynamic player. And then obviously later in the week you got Kentucky, which I haven't even paid attention to yet. But like I said, fun week.
Frank, since you come here, you've talked about winning a conference championship one day. You guys are in position to do that. Do you look around at the standings and the teams that you're going to be playing?
No, I don't. I mean, obviously, I know where we're at, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't know that we're not playing for sole possession of first place on Wednesday. I'm aware of all that, but I'm going to give you my first year as a head coach. We're 8-2 in the Big 12, sole possession of first place, and I kind of paid attention to that, and I went back and I kind of felt good about it. I was like, wow, how about we're leading the Big 12? We're 8-2. We only got 6 games to go. God, we got a chance to win this thing. We lost 4 in a row. And 8-2 all of a sudden is 8-6, and you feel pretty good about where you're at, and you feel pretty good about postseason, and 4 games later, and I'm young and don't understand. Now I'm paying attention to all these so-called talking heads. Today we're in the bubble. Yesterday we're out of the bubble. Today we're in. Today, and I sat back. I said, my God, this is all irrelevant here. We got 2 games to play. Let's figure out a way to go win at Iowa State. That's all we got to worry about. And we did. And then we played Colorado at home. So let's just figure out a way to beat Colorado. And we did. And we end up 10-6 and figured out a way to get to the NCAA tournament. So there'll be times for all that, Dave. Right now, it's all about LSU. And do I know that if we win Wednesday, we're in first place? Yeah, of course I know that. And our players know that also. 20 years ago, you can omit certain things from kids. Every one of you in this room is going to put something on Twitter that they're going to read about that game being for first place. You understand what I'm saying? So they know. They don't need me to tell them. They know. It's my job to get them ready to win the game. That's what we try to do.
You called it a matchup night, Mayor, and obviously everybody starts with Ben Simmons, but what is it that LSU does that is so special?
They've got a 6'6" point guard, a 6'4" real good scoring, and the point guard is an NBA point guard in Quarterman. Hornsby is a 6'4" guy that can really, really score, and he's a 5th-year senior. Blakeney is a projected NBA first-round pick. Those are the guys around them, and now you got a 6'10" guy that when he feels like scoring is going to score, but he's dynamic at passing the ball. So now their 6'10" guy is getting those guys that are very talented scorers open shots because of his passing ability. So trying to figure out how you want to minimize the damage is what you're trying to do. And, and part of it is offensively, we got to be good. Here's where they're real difficult to deal with. You miss a shot, Ben Simmons gets a rebound. It's 4 Greyhounds and an unbelievable passer bringing the ball up the court. And so you say, okay, well, go match up with Ben Simmons. Okay, who are you going to put on him? Your point guard in the open court? Okay, so now one of your big guys is guarding Hornsby in the corner. So now if he's not there, he's going to shoot it in the basket. And if he's there, he's going to drive by him. So they put you in an unbelievable dynamic. And that's just on a missed shot, let alone a turnover. It's they're highly skilled, highly athletic, and that's why they're in first place in our league.
Frank, you mentioned that your guys know what Wednesday is about, but is there a different challenge for you and your staff because they haven't been in this situation before?
All I've told them is pressure's when you're trying to survive. There's pressure when you're trying to survive. When you don't know where you're going to eat your next meal, that's pressure. When you don't know how you're going to pay your next bill, that's pressure. When you're in a place where you're competing for first place, we've been where we were trying to survive. We should be ecstatic about the opportunity. That's all I've talked to our guys about, to stay in that place mentally. We don't need a superhuman effort. We don't need to be a team that we're not. We don't need to play above our capabilities. We just got to stay connected with who we are and stay in the moment, pay attention to the principles that we're going to put in place to go into the game and just be free. Just compete at a high level and be free. Be confident and be free. And that's the only thing that I've talked to them about.
Kind of stay with this. After the Georgia game, you said your character's already been set for the year, and then the guys bounced back and obviously a top 10 road win. From your vantage point, how nice was it to see this far in the season that they knew what they had to do to get the win?
Yeah, it's when you're this deep in the season, you've already got a feel for your team, how they're going to manage a lot of different things, and especially when you've been with them for 3 or 4 years, you kind of know what Michael Carrera is going to do. You know how Senderis is going to act, unless they've got some personal stuff going on in life that kind of throws them for a loop on a certain day. You pretty much you're connected with those guys. You know, Mendogas, all of them. And I thought against Georgia, I didn't think we played bad. We didn't shoot well, but I didn't think we played bad. We didn't rebounded real good, but that goes with just offensively. We weren't very good offensively, I'll say that. We stood around too much, and Georgia's zone kind of bothered us because we stood around. So we didn't attack it, so we couldn't rebound it. But they came in, that next practice, and the mindset was clear. It was defined, the attitude, which is what I expected from them. And our DNA is in place, and it's been developed. And the young guys are learning how to manage these situations watching the older guys. But Michael Carreras and Darius Mendogas, those are the guys who are going to lead us wherever we go. And it's their demeanor, their everyday mentality, their staying in the moment, their experience. Dwayne Notice, those four guys are going to determine who we are every day. And it's their experiences that allow us to continue to handle things the way we have.
Frank, you've been around a lot of NBA or guys that went on to the NBA, been around a lot of skilled guys. Where does Simmons kind of rank among guys that you've seen?
Yeah, he's the most talented passer at his size that I've had to coach against. Kevin Durant was an unbelievable matchup problem because of his size and his ability to shoot. Obviously, that's become a problem in the NBA too. It's and they've got 6'10" guys that can match up with him. When you're in college, you don't have too many 6'10" guys that can match up with a jump shooter that shoots the ball from way up here. It's and then Blake Griffin was a difficult matchup because he was an athletic bull that as he got older, he played a sophomore year. His freshman year, he didn't pass a lot. His sophomore year, he started becoming a better, more complete player. Bees was incredible. Coaching Bees was just ridiculous. Mike was just his ability to score inside, outside, either hand, grab 15 rebounds a game. I mean, what he did was incredible. Simmons has a little bit of all those guys. People say he can't shoot. He does not miss that 15-foot jump shot. He does not miss it. Now, is he a three-point shooter right now? No, I think he's taken one in conference play. But he does not miss that 15-foot jump shot. He's the best passer of all those guys I just described. He has an ability to pass the ball that's unbelievable. You know, whether it's a backdoor pass or finding a guy on the other side of the floor, or making the simple take a dribble into a gap just to get the guy sucked in and bang, put it right on your shooter, right where it belongs. And it's either hand, left or right, which makes it even a harder guard because you can't push him one way or the other. And then he's as a scorer, he's interesting because once he drives the ball, he can shoot it with his right, shoot it with his left. It's he's good. He's good. I remember seeing Magic as a young kid, so I really didn't understand. But you can say something similar. You know, a guy with that kind of size that can really, really pass the ball. You know, it's I'm getting old, but I'm not that old. You know, I wasn't coaching when he played, but actually, I want to say I was in 9th grade when I saw Magic play, and he was Magic's pretty special. You know, as a high school kid, and you know, Simmons has some of those dynamics to his game.
2 questions for you. How do you feel about the way Stroman is playing? And number 2, how do you like the way you guys are dealing offensively with the zones that you're seeing?
I thought we handled zone at A&M a heck of a lot better than we did at Georgia. And it's just not because we shot the ball well. I thought we attacked the zone. And at the end of the day, Phil, when you make shots, everyone says good offense. When you miss shots, they say bad offense. It's just pretty simple. It's, you know, we were dialed in against A&M. They went to their zone. We expected them to go zone. They did more than as early as they've gone all year. I understood, and we attacked their zone and didn't stand around. We didn't just stand and pass it to each other. We actually tried to get in gaps and pass and make the next pass. And then guys were open, they jumped up and shot it, and that was good to see. And Marcus is kind of practicing great, but he's not playing as well as he needs to play right now. And it's not so much on offense; it's more defensively. That's where my concerns with him come. It's defensively, he's not playing as well as he's played for us before, and and I thought PJ probably played not because he dunked the ball. I just thought he played since we played more zone in the second half. It was less stressful for PJ defensively. So he's longer, bigger. So the zone kind of allowed PJ to feel more comfortable defensively, which then allowed him to be more aggressive offensively in the second half. But, you know, and then Sindarius is just playing so well, I wasn't going to take him off the court. But, you know, Marcus is a warrior. Marcus is a tough kid. He's practiced well. I need him to play in games a little bit better.
You kind of just alluded to it, but PJ, particularly in the second half, the last 2 games, has been attacking the zone and taking it to the rack a little bit more. You know, are you pleased with the progression offensively of PJ, particularly lately in the SEC?
PJ's fine. You know, we all forget that PJ did not play basketball his junior year in high school. And then even his senior year, he was limited what he can do in practice because he came back from an ACL injury probably sooner than he should have so he can play the high school season. And, you know, when you tear your ACL, you don't get to play basketball. So it's not like you can practice. You can't do anything for an extended period of time. And then when you do stuff on your own in the gym, once you start getting healthy, that's different than being in an SEC level game. You know, and then his senior year, he missed games because of that knee. He just wasn't fully healthy yet. You know, PJ's fine. PJ, you know, you saw him do some real good things offensively for us at A&M in that second half. You know, he played aggressive offensively. He missed a couple threes where he was real aggressive with it. You know, he made a couple of those mid-range jump shots from that 8 to 10 feet, which he's pretty darn good at. You know, he obviously back cut into that dunk play, which I think gives a player like him confidence because he does that in practice all the time. But then when the game comes, it gets a little harder. I think what helped PJ the most is that we chose to play more zone in the second half, which gave him, like I said, it's a little less stressful. You know, it's Our upperclassmen are real good perimeter defenders. Our freshmen are not. They're still trying to figure out. The same thing Sindarius and Dwayne and all them were figuring out their freshman year. PJ's trying to figure out now, which is those defensive concepts that we have. And he's good at them at times, and there's times that he struggles in them. But as a whole, PJ's a real good player, and we're not 20-3 in spite of him. We're 20-3 because he's a big part of it.
Frank, when you guys have played really good scorers earlier this season, you've used a lot of length, you've shaken up personnel. I mean, Simmons obviously a very different animal at 6'10". I mean, how do you begin to try to defend him?
Hey, it's kind of got to pick your poison. You know, if you get consumed with him scoring, we got to figure out what we need to do to win the game, not be concerned with how many points somebody gets. And if you get consumed with his scoring ability, so you try to neutralize him as a scorer, he's such a dynamic passer that then everyone else starts getting shots. And there are other players. If they had a guy like me on the wing, then, yeah, we'd guard him with 2 and let me shoot every ball. But they don't. You know, they got real good players. And so you got to be careful, you know, when he drives. If you know, he's not one of these guys that puts his head down like a bull in a china shop and just going to run everyone over, get to rim. He drives like a professional, under control, surveying the court, and he's dying to see where the help's coming from. See, a lot of guys drive and you help, and they don't know where the help came from, so they don't know where to pass. He knows where the help's coming from. He you know, and he sees that help coming. He rarely passes it to the wrong guy. So that's the dilemma that I've been going through for the last 24 hours, is trying to figure out when we walk on the floor today how we're going to go about dealing with those dynamics. And he's a problem. He's a problem because if you don't help, a 6'10" driver, slasher, highly skilled guy becomes a problem to defend from a scoring perspective. But if your help is a little undisciplined, he makes you pay every time. So.
Frank, I think you guys are averaging about 9 3-pointers from the opponent per SEC game. Just what's been the biggest problem on 3-point defense? Is it getting beat off the dribble, or guys just not sticking on the wing?
I just want to give credit to the other players. I think we're playing some real good teams in our conference that they've got real good shooters. And it's, I mean, we're holding people to 30 after A&M. That number probably went up, but 38% from the field, somewhere in there. It's defensively, we're not fouling as much as we used to. Dave, we're playing some good teams. They got some guys that can really, really shoot the ball. I don't know. I remember this. I remember I was at K-State, and I thought we were pretty good. And we played Kentucky, and Jody Meek scored 38, I want to say, against us. And I was miserable. I said, how did we let him go for 38? Are you kidding me? About 3 games later, he gave Tennessee 54. And I said, well, maybe he's pretty good. And I don't think that we're doing a lot of things poorly. I just think that we've played some teams that have got a lot of real good shooters. And let's use Anthony Perez for an example. I've known Anthony since he was a young kid. He's a 19% 3-point shooter. He goes 4 for 4 in the first half against us. 19%. For whatever reason, the young man from Mississippi State, I can't remember his name right now, reserve, number 35, hadn't made a 3 all year. First lick he gets against us, bottom of the net. What do you do? It's we play good players in this conference, and they're going to make some shots. And I can tell you against A&M, our on-ball defense wasn't exposed. They just attacked us, and they got real good players, and that was a problem for us.
Frank, overall here this week, it's a pretty big week for basketball. A sellout here tonight. The Kentucky game's a sellout. I think there's going to be close to it for LSU at the moment. I'm not sure. I mean, I imagine this is what you thought this place could be when you took this job a few years ago.
Yeah, no, Pete, you look back to the Coliseum days, and every coach in America that had to coach a game in there will tell you it was as hard a place to coach as there was in the country, because of the fan enthusiasm, from the passion in the building. Obviously, the teams that played in that building were good. So that was kind of shown to me like through other people's eyes. And then my first year here, I got hired and I went to a baseball game. I'm pretty sure they're playing Tennessee, and I couldn't believe the amount of people at a baseball game. I realized Coach Tanner and them had won back-to-back national championships, but still, I couldn't believe how many people there were for a baseball game. And not just there, but how engaged they were in a game, because the baseball crowd is a little more laid back. Like, I love going to baseball games to sit back, eat peanuts, and kind of take a nap in between pitches sometimes. But I couldn't believe how engaged the fans were. And then when I went to a football game and then a volleyball game, I was like, oh my God, if we can ever win so we can capture this energy inside a building, it can be a lot of fun. And, and putting 18,000 in there, that's a big part of what we try to work for every day. That's the biggest reward you can give players and coaches, is when they play at home and their arena's full. That means that their fans respect their team. Their fans respect what's going on. And because as a fan, I'm not spending my time, my money, or my energy on a team I don't respect. So as a player, as a coach, when you walk out in your building and them seats are filled, that's the biggest respect that can be given to any team or any coach. And then you take pride that those people come in, they respect your team, so you got to give them what they want, and you got to go play a certain way. And that's what we're trying to do right now. We're still early in the marriage, but we're both starting to get a little bit more committed to each other, our fans and our team. And this marriage looks like it's getting ready to be a whole lot of fun. Yep.